The Savage Hawkman number 8, written by Tony S. Daniel and James Bonney, art by Philip Tan. Left off last issue with the end of this weird zombie saga, and then Hawkman was attacked by Askana from the first arc, aka a shape-shifting woman demon thing. And yeah, the opening of this issue is just a fight scene between the two of them where it's like, oh, Hawkman, is that all you have? I'm a little more than disappointed. And they just keep fighting over and over and over until finally Hawkman at one point gets her by the throat, pulls out an nth metal like axe sword thing, and then she's like, oh, please don't kill me. I just want your help. And he's like, that's how you ask for help? What the hell? So they get to talking for a short bit, and apparently well, first off, she found him because of she has like 12 senses apparently, one of which can pick up micro vibrations of the nth metal. I don't think it's going to come up, but regardless, it's there. So they get to talking, and apparently she fought him because she wanted to see if he was up to the task of taking on this thing. And there are apparently alien agents from Askana's homeworld, and they're here to take her back and put her on trial or at least execute her for a crime that she did not commit. So she's asking Hawkman for help with that, and Hawkman's like, you've got a lot of alien tech, and you can fend for yourself, so no. And he tries to walk off, but then she's like, well, if that's the case, you remember how I asked you not to kill me? Please kill me instead, because it'll be better than anything that they'll put me through. And he's like, fine, I guess I'll help. So, cut to, I guess, the group arriving on Earth. I think it's the group. We don't actually ever see that it is the group of guys, but they arrive and they're like, oh, begin scan of human population center, locate the violator, and they go off and find this. Meanwhile, I'm blanking on his actual name. Carter Hall, instead of Hawkman, goes to Professor Ziegler's lab, and he's like, hey, Emma, hi, your dad called me and said he wanted me to check something out. Can I go see him? And she was like, my dad called. Okay, hold on. Hey, Dad, did you call Carter? And he's like, no, I didn't. And it's like, oh, this isn't anything menacing. He just actually has like some memory loss sort of thing, like probably some level of dementia or Alzheimer's. And that's going to be an issue moving on. So, yeah. But anyway, he then leaves, and Emma's like, what's the matter? Got a hot date? And he's like, kinda. And Emma's like, jealous about it, which Hawkman picks up on. But regardless, he flies off as Hawkman, and down in Lower Manhattan, they manage to track down this group of alien people who I guess are after Askana. And as soon as they do, they start to just talk about Askana, like, and what she's able to do, because they can only like project a human form at night for some reason, and Askana can do it whenever, and they were genetically engineered lethal. Like, they just get into this talk about her backstory or whatever, and then she says, like, I feel your hatred, Hawkman, but beneath that, I feel something more. You've got a hole in you, something you need to solve. And then they're surrounded by these guys. Like, somehow they weren't keeping an eye on them, despite the fact they never visually took their eyes off them, but they're surrounded by these guys, and they've got these weird metallic tentacle barb things that are attacking the both of them. So they start slashing through them as best they can, but then they grab Askana, pick her up, and then toss her off the building, and then focus on Hawkman. And Hawkman's like, wait a minute, I get the funny feeling that you weren't here for Askana. Son of a bitch. So then he continues to fight through them. Askana comes back and helps with the fight, but Hawkman just lets loose. He's just literally smushing these things underneath giant nth metal swords and maces and axes, and he's just destroying all of them with his rage. Until finally there's nothing but goo left, and he talks to Askana. He's like, hey, something you want to tell me? And she's like, okay. They were agents sent from the High Council. They were here to find the person who released Morpheus from his tomb, which is Dr. Kane. But Dr. Kane made them a deal to hand you over, and I was just enforcing that. I'm sorry. And she's like, well, I don't care. And Askana says, they're not done though. That was just the first wave. More of them will come. And Hawkman's like, bring it. Because I'm full of rage now and I'm able to take on anything. I'm Hawkman. And that's where the issue ends. And I have some very, very, very bad news. The next issue, the art is no longer Philip Tan, and it's not even written by Tony S. Daniel or James Bonney anymore. We're getting a new creative team. And I couldn't remember who the second name was. But the one name that stood out because of this art is, it's Rob Liefeld. And to say that my disappointment is immeasurable is an understatement because, dear God, I've seen the cover art and it's not good. So yeah, this issue, it's good. It's solid. I think it was just kind of all right, the new creative team is coming on next issue and I don't have time to start a new arc. So I'm just going to do this little wrapping up a thing that I left open before. It's good. It's fine. It's nothing to really write home about, but it's perfectly acceptable. I think my biggest issue with it is that it treats Askana like some character that we're like deeply involved with, whereas if I remember correctly from the issue that she was in, like we had the like main focus of, she didn't really have that much depth to her, and the fact that she's come knocking again just kind of feels out of place. It was a good story that was told, but it was just kind of a weak setup to get there. So art, again, fantastic. Philip Tan's always good with this sort of thing. So overall, I'm going to give it a 6. And most of that comes down to I like the ending scene where Hawkman's just letting his rage out because it does finally live up to the title of Savage Hawkman. And I like the art. So that's really what gets it to 6. But next time, we enter into a new age of horrors with the Rob Liefeld run.